added to the stream. That's why you only hear me. Hey, it is what it is. It's just me today. I'm here by myself. All by myself. Yep. So we are live. Um, D has some things to do this morning. There won't be a word from my sponsor, but I can talk about what we got. Hope everybody enjoyed your week. I think Monday is a holiday, Indigenous Day. I think it used to be called Columbus Day. It's Indigenous Day, so I don't know if everybody get it off. I'm not sure if everybody is observing that and so forth. Um, so um, I do have a lot of things to talk about today. We won't do one show today. We're gonna do two shows. I know it's kind of odd when we don't do two shows. I feel like we're cheating when we don't do two shows. I feel like there's like we're cheating. Uh, you're being cheated out of information. That's just my own personal take on it. There. I think Zerny, I see you in the chat. Let me see who's all here that has popped in on our live chat, and let me get my notes up too while we're here. So I don't even have my notes up. Let me pull up my notes. What's going on, Queen Lee? How you doing? Let me pull up my notes for today. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about today. Hey, 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 hey. What's going on, Kevin? Good morning. Let me uh pull out one of the things I wanted to talk about that's going that I was actually an article I was reading. It's actually a actual podcast. Well, it was not even a podcast. It was me now. I was just listening to. What's going on, Natasha? Natasha, you know you got to come on the show on the second show, so you should get cammed up. No, I'm not playing. Maybe so. Anyway, you got to tell us about the conference. Like, did you enjoy it? Was it good? Did you meet people? What's going? How was that? What's going on, Katie King? How you doing? Data Christian, how are you today? How's your week been? I'm looking for an article um that I wanted to discuss. Oh, I thought I saved that article. You got pictures? Okay. Did you like it? Did you like the conference? If anybody didn't know, Hashi Corp reached out to me and asked me to send them four individuals that could attend the conference. What was said to me was that they will be paying for the flight and the hotel, which I think happened. I don't know. Um, D was supposed to go, but she was here. And I think Natasha and Evelyn and Free were the four that were chosen. I asked a couple of people, and some people just couldn't make it during that time. Um, and so it was. If you've never been, I tell you all the time, like man, if you all gonna be in tech, you can't be in tech and just work. You got to go out and mix and mingle at conferences. Even if you're an introvert, they actually have rooms for introverts. They have sessions for people who are introverts. They try to cater to everybody um in every different way. If you go to that I spoke at Hashi conference in Amsterdam, one of my first international conferences that I spoke at. I spoke at a couple of international but that was the first one. Um, but it was great to see um, other people, that are in tech. Usually, when you step outside of the U.S., you really get a chance to see what everybody else is doing, and to see someone that look like you at a tech conference. I would say we can be rare. Depends on where they're at. In Amsterdam, it was like, maybe not. In France, because we went to did a conference in France and speaking to people. They're just mixing with the culture and where you're at. We were in well, we went early. This is the one thing about traveling um to conferences that are overseas. This is your chance to get to see not only the country that you're going to or the city that you're going to, but it's other places surrounding it. So we took a train to we left Paris. We did like 3 or 4 days in Paris, and then took a train down to the conference where we were at. And so, you get a chance to see Paris, like, and then like if you're in Amsterdam, you may hop over to Barcelona, or if you're in Barcelona, you may hop over to somewhere else, right? Or you take a train or something like that. So this is a good way if you start doing the international conferences. That's when you really get a chance to like step outside. Like I think Budapest has like a DevOps conference, or like this international company that everybody tried to get to, because because everybody wants to go and check out Budapest and so forth. So you know the reason why I tell y'all to write down do a daily journal every day of your tech experience, or what you did at work, or what have you, is because this gives you the opportunity to create a talk around your experiences in tech. And that's what most people do. They talk about what how they moved the team, how a team built something, and so forth, which is why I wanted to look for this article today. I gotta find it. It's an article I personally think is important. This article and what the person was saying in this article is important, but not from the perspective of what uh he was talking about. Yeah, this is it right here. Let me put it on my pad, and then we're gonna get into this article. But I don't want you to be stuck on this article, but there's some things I wanted to point out in this article. Let me add it to my Word document here real quick, and then we'll get into this article. I'll pull it up on the screen. All right. Oh, so I guess I should be doing a word for my sponsor. I am the sponsor. You can find us on social media, across social media at Women in Linux. You can find us at meetup.com. We meet every week, every Wednesday. And you also see us here on YouTube. Check us out on LinkedIn as well, too. We're actually on Facebook as well. Um, we're not on TikTok. Well, we are on TikTok. I just don't do anything on TikTok. And you can also catch our shirts as well too. They're in the actual on the actual page. If you go to womeninlinux.org and hit shop, you would then find us on that page. You'll find the shop on that page, and you'll see our new shirts. No state, no date. I got it out the trust instead of I got it out the mud. uh, One skill away from 200K, and as well as Linux money. And we still need to make the shirt binary hustlers. We need to do that, right? And the reason why we have those shirts is I hear a lot of people talking about, yeah, I got it out the mud. Like, man, let's stop saying that and saying we got it out of the trust, or we got it out of our private equity fund, or anything other than getting it out the mud. At this point, we shouldn't still be continuing to get it out of the mud. You got to change the narrative, and the only way you can change that narrative if you start talking about changing that narrative. And that's what I want to do. I want to talk about changing the narrative and show you how to change the narrative. You gotta execute, right? Gotta have execution. um so let me bring this article up, and we're gonna get into this article. Let me make sure I'm centered. Uh-oh. Oh, oh, everything falling. Uh, Everything's centered right here. All right. All right. So here we go. Not big enough. That's perfect. All right. I know that's super huge on your screen because it's super huge on my screen. Let's go to this one and take me out the picture. Here we go. All right. So this one is how this 31-year-old got fired from his job and rehired at the same company in 24 hours. And I really found part of this interesting. There's another one that I found interesting too. I need to go find that one as well too, but we'll start with this one. All right. So, let me make it a little smaller because it's super huge to me. Let's see. That's a little better. All right, so here we go. His name is Kyle McCann or McCain. Kyle has always prided himself in the ability to make the best of any situation. So when his boss fired him from his job, he started just 8 weeks earlier. McCain held back tears and decided to focus on the bright side. McCain, then 26, joined VisiPay, a startup based in, I guess, Waukee, Iowa, that designs payment technology solutions for small and mid-sized businesses across the U.S. as a sales account manager in 2017. He was the second employee hired at the startup and hit the ground running in his new role, signing several new accounts within his first 2 weeks. But the business slowed down a lot, and McCain went weeks without signing a new customer. At first, I thought it was going to be the easiest job in the world, going to business owners and saying, "Hey, how can I save you money?" I was terribly mistaken. I quickly realized I'm not much of a closer out on the field. So when and so this is key right here, right? This is key, right? I was terribly mistaken, and I quickly realized I'm not much of a closer out on the field. Now, why does that stand out to me? It stands out to me for a couple of reasons. One, he had to get into the position, and once he got into the position, he realized that after doing the work and being in the position, that it wasn't for him. But here's the thing that he also learned: he had to get in the position and actually do the work and actually be in the position to know that it doesn't work for him. And some of you, not everybody, some of you won't even start to even see if you like it. You won't even start to even see if you like it. You won't even get in position in order to say, "Hey, I like this," or "I don't like this." You'll just write it off and say, "I don't like it." Right? And I do it. I'm sure other people do it. But here's the question: is why do you do it? Is the bigger question. Why do you do it? Why do you put yourself out of the game first? Right? Why do you put yourself out of the game first? Right? Why do you take yourself out of the game first and not even try? Right? So you basically shooting yourself in the foot before you even try. Right? And sometimes you actually may get into it and find out you like it more. All right, so let's get back to the article. All right, it says so when Austin McNabb, the founder and the CEO of VisiPay, texted him one Friday afternoon in late July to swing by the office, McCain knew he was toast. I knew exactly what was coming, that I was getting fired, he says, but I decided to go into the meeting with a positive attitude and see what happened. It says a heat of the moment decision that changed everything. McCain's first thought walking into the meeting was his boss uh, was how he was going to pay his rent next month. He and his girlfriend, Shannon, who was working a temp job at Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, had moved into an apartment in Waukee and probably couldn't afford the rent on her salary alone. All right, so let's stop right there. Let's have that conversation. We're going to break this conversation down. All right, we're going to break this letter down. Okay, so she moved into an apartment that she knew she probably couldn't afford alone. Now, the question is, why did she move into that apartment that she knew she probably couldn't afford alone? And I get it; they're together, and he feels this obligation to her. But now the pressure is on both of them, right? She's moving into an apartment that she probably can't afford. He's getting ready to get fired, so Hopefully you got a savings or something like that. Now you're putting yourself in a predicament, right? Both of them are. And you're putting yourself in a predicament, not the fact that you need each other, but you're putting yourself in a predicament financially where you could possibly have something go on your credit because you can't afford it. Some late payments, which is going to pile on to the payment that you already owe. He's stressed, she's stressed. So you're just creating stress, right? And I don't know what the situation was or why they got there. But I'm saying this too from the other perspective of when you all are looking at because this happens too. When you get in tech, and I've seen it happen. I've had it happen. You get in tech and you get a job offer, and this has happened, and we've seen Meta do this too. People rescind offers, right? First things first, let me tell you from this side of the house, if you're gonna get into tech, don't take a job. Don't count the job until you get everything signed on the dotted line. If it ain't in black and white and you have a start date in the whole nine, that's the first thing, right? If don't make no moves until it's in black and white. And I tell everyone this, and anybody that I work, they were like, "Hey, are you gonna be ready to go?" And people, and let me say this: some people would not want to send you an offer until they get a verbal agreement from you, or you send back an email saying that you're going to accept the offer. They won't put it together, which forces your hand, right? And I don't like those tactics, right? Either send me the offer or leave me alone, right? Don't try to force my hand and make me take this offer because just as much time as you spent going through this, I've spent a lot of time too, right? So my thought process is put it in black and white. If it ain't in black and white, I don't know why we talking, right? Just my thought process. All right. So that was one of the things I found in this article. Well, two of the things so far. So let's get back to it. It says, but let's see, da, 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 da. But I tried to remind myself that everything happens for a reason. I was definitely scared, but tried not to worry too much. Even after McNabb told him he was getting fired, McCann remained calm and upbeat, thanking his boss for the opportunity, highlighting the positive elements of his experience at VisiPay and asking for feedback on his performance. He was very humble and didn't give me a bunch of excuses as to why he failed, McNabb says. He held himself accountable for the fact that the job wasn't for him, which not many people do, especially when they're getting fired. Listening to McCann during the meeting, McNabb started to question his decision to let the recent hire leave the company altogether. I felt he was genuine, authentic, and hardworking, and my gut instinct kicked in during the conversation. It was a heat of the moment decision, McNabb says. I thought I have to keep him some way, somehow at VisiPay, just not in this job. So after McNabb fired McCann from his role as an account manager, he offered him another job at the end of the meeting that he thought might be a better fit for McCann's skills and friendly personality. How would you like to be a customer service representative instead? The offer came with a lower salary that than what he was making in his previous role and would be just enough to cover his bills and groceries. McCann went home to talk it over with Shannon first and then accepted to McNabb's surprise. I had leads on other opportunities that paid more, but I saw something special in VisiPay. McCann says, I was eager to stay with the company because I truly believed in their vision and the people behind it. All right, so I'm going to stop right there. And you all can tell me in the chat what y'all got out of that. Here's what I got out. I got out of it is I had to make a haste decision on something um, because of the situation that me and my girlfriend went in. I needed, and like you said, it paid just enough to cover bills, but I believed in the project. But I had leads on the other one. Uh, he didn't have concrete uh he's probably started interviewing late or didn't start and didn't finish interviewing and didn't want to take a chance. And here's what my interpretation of it was during his time at the job, which was in the position that he was in was 8 months. He didn't get skills that he needed so that he could move on confidently into the workforce to go pick out what he wanted, right? So this happens a lot of times. And it happens where you all sit down and you get in a position and you get very comfortable, and you just get up and you get into a routine. You get up, you go to work every day, and you're like, hey Fred, hey Taylor, hi Jim, hi Bob, hi Tanisha. And that's what you do. And you're like, yep, 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 yep. Got a meeting, da 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 da. And then there's cutbacks or there are layoffs. And you look up, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, it's been 3 years, it's been 5 years, and you don't have no skills that you have gained over those years that can move you forward into a newer position or better paying position, and now you're stuck. And so what happens is your salaries become stagnant, your outlook becomes stagnant, you get frustrated with yourself, you get frustrated with the positions because you're applying and looking at the same positions and so forth. So again, I'm saying to you is when I read this article, I looked at, I'm just gonna take it because I need it. But he took it because he needed because of his one, the skill sets. And then I had questions about, well, if they hired him as account manager and he was the second employee, what kind of training did they have in place? Probably none, to help him get to where he needed to be. And what was he lacking, and what did the company have in place to make sure that he could go back into the position, right? Um, so this article stood out to me because I see this often with people, right? And when I say it with people, it's just like I could look and tell that people who have been in a position for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years got the same skills. They haven't added anything. They don't take up on the free classes. They don't attend the conferences. They don't go to the webinars. It's just it is what it is. And you're correct. India, he took a huge risk. Yep, he took a huge risk because now you're getting paid less. And then what's your career trajectory? What does that look like? What plans do you have for yourself? How do you see yourself? Not how somebody else sees you, but how do you see yourself? Which is the conversation that I had last week, is what contribution are you going to lend to this world? Well, how do you see yourself? How do you want to be perceived, right? What are you doing for self that helps others? We talked about this on the Intentional Millionaire show yesterday. And being able to invest in yourself so that you can build yourself up. You know, a lot of people say you don't need a lot of money to live, and it's not that the fact that you don't need a lot of money to live, it's the fact of why don't you want to have enough money for you and your family or your community to live and build off of. That's all I'm saying. The next one was he was in a desperate position. He was, Kevin, but again, why? What did he? Where's the accountability that he had to make sure that he was moving forward, and the company itself too, right? Because if you're in these positions, you will hope that there are some type of skill building or other people you can bounce ideas off of or learn from, or again, you got to take these positions and make them work for you, right? You got to build and make these companies and positions work for you. Tim said, Tim, the 12 p.m. had a few gems about endorsement from people angle. Yeah, I looked at it. I was in there for a little bit. I heard about the writing of the books and so forth, but we'll get into it. All right, so let's go back and see what he said his lessons learned were. All right, so lessons learned. Fast forward 5 years, and McCain, now 31, still works at VisiPay. He recently celebrated his 1 year anniversary as the company's director of operational strategy. And the company has 91 employees. He and Shannon are married now, and she recently took a job at VisiPay as the director of marketing and sales enablement. Now, remember, she was in the mortgage industry before, right? McCann often reflects on the meeting where he was fired as a defining moment in his life that taught him patience, the definition of grinding it out and believing in only only ideas but yourself, he says. While you can't always avoid getting fired, McNabb and McCann agreed there are a couple of things you should keep in mind during the exit meeting to leave on good terms. Don't be defensive, keep your emotions in check, and maintain an attitude of gratitude. You can't control other people's actions, but having a positive attitude and always be willing to put in the hard work and really open so many doors. Getting that second chance and being able to prove what I can do, it's been unreal and has led me to build a career that really makes me happy. All right, so you all tell me what your thoughts on that on that one. Let's go back up. He said, is and this is what I don't understand. Oh yeah, okay, 5 years. So in 5 years, he's moved from customer service to uh customer service to the director of operational strategy. And the company now has 91 employees. I don't know what they had before. He and Shannon are married, and she recently took a job as director of sales, a director of marketing and sales enablement, right? So they got the promotion. She's now working at the company. They're now married. Um, McCann often reflects on where he was fired as a defining moment in his life that taught him patience, the definition of grinding it out, right? So patience is a good thing to have when working in tech and working for anybody really. Because oftentimes you'll find yourself you'll be ready to explode. I'm just gonna say that you're gonna be ready to explode on some people, right? So those are my takeaways on that. Drop in the chat what you think your takeaways are. Do you like the happy ending? What are your thoughts on that? All right. So let me get my other one. All right. So let me see where I want to go with us this week. Where do I want to go? Oh, I know what I want to talk about. Oh yeah, yeah. I want to talk about this. Mm-mm-mm. Hmm. Well, I really want to talk about this. This just this messy tea, this petty tea right here. This is petty tea. Let me get back to the thing. This is petty tea moment here. I thought it was quite funny. So Elon Musk, Elon said Elon Musk's father of nine says friends have suggested he have 500 kids, but he thinks that would be a bit weird. 500 kids. He got nine so far. So as y'all say it on online, I'm like he just want to shoot up the club, right? Like 500 kids. Imagine 500 Elons. It's already nine running around, right? But again, remember that article that I don't know if y'all remember that article? Do y'all remember the story about the guy that um that donated and people kept choosing women kept choosing I think choosing his or they kept giving his donation to women and so he got like 273 kids around the world. Did y'all remember that story? And all the kids have decided to meet up with each other and stuff like that. And they confronted him, and he's married and got kids of his own, and he was like, "That's nice. I'm the daddy to all of y'all, but whatever." Do y'all remember that story? And this goes back to like the whole DNA thing. I see. I think he got 273 kids. I don't know if y'all remember this story or not. Nah, I don't think this one was a doctor. I think this one was um I think this one was they somehow or another they kept giving out this man's um donation to people, and he ended up like with 273 kids. Let me see. Now this one is from 2011. Uh, this is one of them, but this ain't the one I'm thinking about. This one right here is one sperm donor, 150 offspring. This is from 2011. I think, yeah, I think he got 273 now. But this is again, so these where I have questions, right? This where I start to have questions, right? Questions. Our Father on Netflix. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. This is where we start talking about the whole genetics and testing, and what are they doing with DNA? Your no more seeds and fruit and the whole nine. And trust me, I understand. Uh, there's like we got so many people on the planet, we can't feed them all. So some things gonna have to be made. Let's see, Farida, what you say? Oh yeah, thank you, Melissa, for the stream. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. I remember the story. Shamika said, "Hey, Shamika, how you doing?" You said you remember that. He was a fertility doctor. You covering good stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then this gets into tech, right? This goes back into the whole thing around tech, right? When we start with these donations and your 23 and Me and your genetics and the testing, and I got some I got we're going we getting ready to go off into a deep end, but there's a reason why I brought these things up. Trust me, because we're going back to our AI conversation last week, and when I bring this up, don't be mad at me, right? Don't be mad at me. Let me find the article right here. It's the reason why I brought it up. It's a method to my madness. Sounds like madness, but it's a method. All right. How is AI helping birth digital humans that look and sound just like us? So we already seen the Netflix story. We already see Elon want to have 500 kids. How you think he gonna get there? How you think that's gonna happen? He's gonna probably do a donation. Trust me. And he's probably gonna work with some private agency that's gonna help him out achieve that if he ain't already done it. Just putting it out there. Y'all gotta think outside the box here. But how is AI helping birth digital humans that look and sound just like us? AI powered replicas of real people are taking on jobs of entertainers, law enforcement, and more. Just came out September the 29th of 2022. I'm gonna blow this up a little bit. It's a podcast, right? Digital twins capture the physical look and expressions of real humans. Increasingly, these replicas are showing up in the entertainment industry and beyond. It gives rise to some interesting opportunities as well as theory. All right, so I'm gonna stop right there because I don't want to scare you anymore. I don't want to scare you anymore. So you could be at a concert and it might not be the person at the concert that you thought it was. Right? Right? So they're already doing the we already talked about the AI robots, and we already talked about their skin feels like human skin, right? We've already talked about that. Elon is a pookie at heart. But let's go back to the article. It says sounds from, and and this is a podcast. I haven't finished it, but let me click on this one right here. Um, it's a podcast, so you may want to check it out. Um, and it's called "Seeing Double AI Births Digital Twins in Machines We Trust." So back over here, they say sounds from the Tupac hologram. I am Maquella, a real life robot mess. Capitol Record signs the virtual rapper. So they've taken people who have rapped and had their lyrics and stuff like that, and now they understand how to make beats and cadences and tell a story and the whole nine to come up with a virtual rapper. Um, they said Capitol Record signs an AI or virtual rapper, then drops the artist after pushback. I guess FN Mecca voice glad Capital killed the contract. Hitmaker agrees. Whatever. Black Mirror, you and me, and this is basically part of what they're talking about in the show. Moonwalking via YouTube. Capitol Record, yeah, drops the backlash. Kyle the hooligan, the black rapper behind F and N Mecca, says he's suing TMZ. So let's go look up. I don't know who this is in the future of digital humans. Let's go check this one out. I don't know if he's gonna come back, Melissa. I don't know if they're gonna bring Mike back. Let's see. Let's just go. Yeah, we can do that. That should come up with something, right? Okay, yeah, here we go. This one is 49 minutes long, but we can at least watch the first couple of minutes of it. So let me make sure my sound is up. And let's go look at the birthing of digital humans, right? Let's go check this out. Remember last week with the AI robots, last week with the AI robots last week, we had the robots where they were working on letting the fixing the robots so they can give birth to other robots, right? They already have the AI robots where the men are buying them and falling in love with them. We've already seen the AI. I don't know if you've seen the AI blow up dolls. Have y'all seen those AI blow up dolls that men have now? They have just the regular blow up dolls that look like humans, but they also have an AI blow up doll. I don't know if y'all have seen those. Anyway, long story about those. But let's get into this. Because this again, when you all are at these positions, you think about what you do every day, how what your thought process is behind the decisions that you make, and then imagine a robot doing your position, right? Imagine a robot doing your position. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so let's go here, and then let's hit up this right here.
Well, welcome everybody to my presentation about digital human. Today, I'm going to give you a behind the scene about how we create these digital humans. First, I'm going to give you guys an introduction about myself and who we are, what we are doing, and where we come from. And then we're going to talk about a bit about how we create these digital humans. And at the end, we're going to summarize everything, and then we talk about what is the future of digital humans. So without further ado, let me show you, let me give you a little bit history about myself. I'm actually born in China, and I moved to the Netherlands in 1986. So when I moved here, I've been told this is the country of the cowboys, and which I unfortunately find out that it was not the case. And I was very disappointed with that. And to really process my sorrow, I start to do a lot of drawings in the past. So that's become my passion and also my affection with digital humans. So in my career, I started actually in the film industry. I've been working at movies like Around the World in 80 Days. You can see me here in meeting Jackie Chan which was one of my idols, and I'm really proud of that. Something that you might know me from is the games called Killzone 3, which is a PlayStation 3 title. This is one of the characters that I created in the past. Um, After I create a character that you see here in the picture called Alex, which I will explain a little bit more about, she went really viral, and one of my old boss asked me to join them in Dubai, which I helped them set up a new company. Doing that, we've been working on project like a big project for Cavalli, which is a big fashion brand. And I'm going to show you a little bit how we did it with the showroom movie that's coming up next. Uh, this project was especially challenging, and it's not about digital human, but it just gives you an idea where I'm coming from the VFX industry. This movie also featuring Naomi Campbell, as you can see here. I'm going to switch this to the movie now. So there's some fun fact. At the end, you see a lot of people dancing, and actually, one of the guys was me. We didn't have enough people, so we end up helping out with the crowds. Um, Another very cool project that we've been involved in the past is a project called Sweetie. We've been contacted by an agency called LAMS Amsterdam. They've asked us to create a virtual Filipino girl around the age 9 and 12. And first, we didn't know what this exactly was about. And also, they disguised themselves as the UNICEF, but it turned out to be Terrace Homes. So this project is about a virtual girl that has been used to attract pedophiles online. And this whole story was very important for us because it was helping the world become a safer place. More about this, you can.
All right. So as you can see, what we're already headed. We'll again the whole movies on Netflix, the dark net, all those Black Mirror. Believe that we're already there. We're already there. And so, um, technology, biology, at the core of it is still Linux that these servers are running on that are doing that we're doing the testing and combining things. And I'm gonna bring this over because this is another situation that's actually has been popping up, and they're running testing behind this. Now, with this being said, these are all places where are doing research that need your help in terms of not just not from the research standpoint, but from ensuring that the networks stay up, ensuring that the data stays safe, ensuring that the information that you're using is traveling from one place to another place in a safe manner. And also, these are companies that you can invest in, right? So when we're looking at this, we're not looking at like the scare factor of it. It's also the interest that you may want to invest in and so forth. So this one right here is about the quest to show that biological sex matters in the immune system. And I got here to this article because they were talking about what does it mean to be a transgender and how does that affect the immune system and so forth. And so someone has set out to look up to look up and do research on a handful of immunologists are pushing the field to take attributes such as the sex chromosomes, the sex hormones, and the reproductive tissues into account. The quest to show that biological sex matters in the immune system. And so in this article, they go on to talk, said John Hopkins, they go on to talk, I've learned how sex hormones can influence the brain and the behavior. I naively thought everybody knows hormones can affect lots of not physical, psychological processes, our metabolism, our heart, our bone density. It must be affecting the immune system, she says. But when she graduated in 1998, she struggled to convince others that sex differences in the immune system are a worthy topic for postdoctoral research. I wasn't able to find a microbiologist or immunologist who was going to let me study sex differences, she said. She ultimately found a postdoctoral position in the lab of one of her thesis committee members. And in the years since, she has established a lab of her own at the university's Bloomberg School of Public Health. Do y'all know who Bloomberg is? Do you know that Bloomberg is private? Do y'all know who Bloomberg is? Put a one in the chat if you know who Bloomberg is. Put a one in the chat if you know how much Bloomberg's net worth is. Private, right? But here's the other thing. Did you know that Bloomberg had a school of public health? Now imagine how much data Bloomberg itself has from the articles, from the TV shows, the whole nine. But did you know Bloomberg had a school of public health, right? So put that in perspective. Of and this gets into another article it's actually not an article, it's a book. It's a book. And I'll let me think of. I know it's philanthropy, but I can't remember the whole name. But the premise of the book is how people use nonprofits such as Melinda and Bill Gates and Bloomberg and all of them use these nonprofits to influence society, and how these nonprofits help predict what society is going to look like in 20 years, 30 years. They've already mapped out what society is going to look like. And here in this book, they talk about the players of society from a technology perspective, like the billionaires from a perspective on who controls and does what, right? So it's a whole book about it, right? I had to look it up. I bought the book and I started reading it and I stopped reading it, but I need to get back to it. All right, so let's get back to the article. All right, it says yep. So she has painstakingly made the case that sex defined by biological attributes such as your sex chromosomes, your sex hormones, and reproductive tissues recently does influence the immune responses, right? The research in animal models and humans, Kel, Klein and others have shown how and why female and male immune systems respond differently to flu viruses, HIV, and center cancer in certain cancer therapies, and why most women receive greater protection from vaccines, but are more likely to to get severe asthma and autoimmune disorders. Work from her laboratory has been instrumental in advancing our understanding of vaccine responses and immune functions on males and females. Right. So there's work out there for this. This is all from the MIT Technology Review. I get it every month. I get it no, not every month. I get it once a week on what's the latest advances of AI and tech in itself, and where tech is being influenced and pushing things forward, right? So I read these articles, but you have to know the history behind the tech behind these things is really what's important. All right. It said, despite the practice of bikini medicine, the notion that there's no differences between sexes outside the parts that fit under a bikini, we know that whether you're looking at your metabolism, heart, or immune system, both biological sex differences and social cultural gender differences exist, and they both play a role in susceptibility to diseases. For instance, men greater propensity to tuberculosis. They're almost twice as likely to get it as women, may be attributed partly to the differences in their immune responses and partly to the fact that men are more likely to smoke and work in mining and construction jobs that expose them to toxic substances, which can impair lungs and immune defenses. Right, and they go on. It's a long article. I won't read it all, but I just want to give you from the AI perspective of these studies and what they're doing with AI as well, not just the robots. Right, I don't want to give you just all the doom and gloom. Right, from using AI to use to study what people are doing with your DNA as well too, and then also the digital aspect of cloning humans. Right, we've already cloned sheep. We already have done that. We clone plants and veggies all the time. You can. It's very rare you find a watermelon with seeds in it. Right, we've already doing that. Here's another AI article that's uh, you've heard about before. And this AI article is talks about deep mind. Um, this is when you really getting into algorithms and understanding, uh, really understanding algorithms and encoding and so forth. When you're looking at deep mind, but deep mind game playing AI has beaten a 50-year record in computer science. The new version of Alpha Zero discovered a faster way to do a matrix multiplication, a core problem in computing that affects thousands of everyday computer tasks. Matrix multiplication. Let me show that what it looks like. Um, right. So let's do. Yeah, this is good right here. We'll go images so you understand what matrix multiplication is. All right. So this is a good one here. Multiplying matrices. Let me blow this up. I know y'all like, damn, this is super technical, but you're gonna be okay. It's really easy. All right. So basically, they're saying in this lesson, you will learn how to the product of two matrices. You're gonna take these two and multiply them together, and then basically they're up. Where's that one at? Here it is, right here. How to multiply a matrix. Basically, they're showing you here that you could take right here. Uh, one set one two. This is scalar. They didn't do it down here, but anyway, if you were gonna do the scalar one, you take two and multiply by each one of these, right? So now instead of this being 5, 2, 3, and 1, it'll now be 10, 4, 6, and 2, right? But then with these with the matrices here, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you go here and then here, all right, and then here and then here, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken. So let's go down here. Let me see if they show it to you. I'm trying to find and make sure it lines up right. 5, 2, 3, 1. No, they're not showing it. They're not showing it. Yeah, you multiply rows by columns. So check your understanding. Yep. So in this matrix, row one is denotated or as row one with 6 and 2, and then row two is 4 and 3, right? And then 6 and 4, and then they like check your understanding. come out into columns. So which of the following are ordered triples and C2? Don't worry about that, but know that you multiply the rows by the columns, and that gives you your outcome for what a matrix is. Multiplication of a matrix. And so we got here by this article. Mm, 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 mm. Not that one. By DeepMind, using matrices. So AI is using basically multiplying matrices, and it found a quicker way to do it. And remember, these matrices are not 2 and 4, right? Yeah, Q4. You have multiplied matrices. And yeah, I have multiplied matrices in a long time, but that's part of DeepMind. It's finding an algorithm that can use that finding using an algorithm that can multiply matrices, and you get into this in linear algebra. So those of you that are in school right now and you're doing computer engineering and you're doing and maybe even electrical engineering, if you go and taking your Cal 3, Cal 4, you'll probably get into multiplying matrices. Linear algebra, most definitely, you'll multiply matrices. Cal 3, you'll probably do X, Y, and Z coordinates or triple integrals in with that. But most definitely in that. Conan Evelyn, thank you for joining. How was the conference? How was the conference? All right, let's get to our next article. Let's get to our next article. Let me see which one. Oh yeah, we did the AI. We did the biology. Oh, I know what I did want to talk about today. I know the one I did want to talk about. Let me see if it's on here. Cause what you call it just lost $100 billion $100 billion play. Let me see if I can look it up here. 100 billion lost Austin to NYC. Right, right here. I want to do a video. So this Micron was going to be in Austin, but they decided to move to New York. So Austin really lost $100 billion. Coming up with teacher retirement, $100 billion play here. Micron to build a new chip plant in upstate New York instead of Lockhart. That's what it was. It was Lockhart. So they're moving it upstate. It was $100 billion. Now remember, I've been telling you all about the manufacturing plants. The need to bring back manufacturing plant, which probably brings up another thing that we need to do look at. But anyway, the Build Better Act. You remember I told you the $50 billion that's going into chip manufacturing. It's in particular in Ohio to start. Here's another one in New York. Right, $100 billion being put in by Micron to build chips here locally. However, there are some caveats to this Build Better Act as well too. There are restrictions to selling the chips overseas as well too. I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday when we're talking about this. So why am I mentioning this? Like I told you before, if you're gonna be invested in tech and you're gonna make your money in tech, you also need to have your money make money. So then again, how what are you talking about? Well, you know that they're building $100 billion manufacturing plant in upstate New York. Do you not think that people need a place to stay? They need a place to eat. Everything that's going to be centered around those manufacturing companies. It's the same way of things that are going to be centered around the manufacturing companies in Ohio. So you need to understand that as we as these manufacturing plants come up, you need to be buying some real estate, buying some land, investing into something, some apartments and so forth. And it's ironic. It was a show that I was watching, and hopefully I can find it. I had to look at my history that they were complaining about where people were going to live in Austin. And so there's this company that have came up with these modules which got me to thinking about these warehouses and stuff like that that people could live in. But basically, they're setting it up where people can live in these little modules in like almost like a warehouse situation. They're connected together. I'm gonna pull it up so you can see it. But this goes into what I was speaking of, that I know that we're gonna have
Like,
problems. Hold on, let me pull this up over here, and then we're gonna watch part of this. So remember, the $100 billion that's going into upstate New York from Micron. If you don't know who Micron is, you should really look up who Micron is, and you should look up ASML as well too. Anything that's dealing with chips and embedded systems, y'all need to be checking these things out and looking at them from an investment standpoint or a job standpoint, or even looking at them to see what kind of technology they're using. This is not financial advice, these are just suggestions. All right. So let's look at this right here. This is saying, where would Tesla employees live in Austin? All right. So let's get over here.
we all know that the grand opening of Gigafactory Texas is coming up in April. And I was lucky enough to go to Austin a few weeks ago and see Gigafactory, at least from the outside, in person. Elon Musk says Tesla plans to invest more than $10 billion in its Gigafactory in Texas and will employ 20,000 workers. But where are all of those workers going to live? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If you haven't noticed, there's kind of a housing crisis around the country right now, and it's especially prominent in a city like Austin. I rode around for the day with Matt Holm. He is a top real estate agent in the area, and he says he's kind of worried for these Tesla employees.
I'm scared for people that are going to be moving here, working in any capacity, but people coming for Tesla, SpaceX, whatever else is coming. You've also got Google, Apple, Amazon. We built 40,000 homes last year in Austin, but 65,000 people moved here.
Whoa.
My projections are 100,000 people move here this year. Maybe we get to 45,000 homes. And the problem is most of the new construction is out in the periphery, 45 minutes to an hour out.
Yeah.
So if you want to get something central, it's existing inventory. Example, I've got folks looking in Westlake, just west of town, and right now, out of the 11,000 homes that are there that run 8 miles from downtown going west, there's 17 on the market. And that is it. We can't even get over 20 homes.
So what's the solution?
New community. You're actually about to go see it. I mean, what you need is factory-built homes that can come off the assembly line at full capacity. Maybe we do, 100, 1,000. We can get to 10,000, 50,000 homes a month. And they're agnostic. They can be placed anywhere. For new community, we have over 3,000 acres in Austin. So we have the capacity in Austin to create these developments. But really, the goal is to solve housing for the planet. And that's really, sounds like a crazy ambition, but
Yeah.
that's really the goal. You'll see when you get there what we're looking at, but we can't build sticks and bricks housing fast enough in this city.
Sure. That's why he's working.
All right. So again, this is the new homes, right? This is the new homes. This is the new homes, right? We're not gonna it's no way we're not gonna be able to sustain building houses. And in this video, he goes on to talk about trying to get things approved, right? Like he said, 3D print homes. How long is that gonna take? Or not, like the need to scale. Like how do you combat homelessness? How cheap would these be? Could the government use something like this for people who are um, collecting social security checks? Could this be a retirement village? Could this be something that you could set up for homeless people? Of course, there'd be some kind of, you got to monitor and so forth and so on. Could this be what we see coming out as new homes, or do we? Are we? Because again, how much space do you really need to operate in a house? How much space do you really need? But even though there's too many hills, nah, there won't be an. Again, that's just infrastructure. That's when that's data Christian. That's when engineers come into play. I mean, if they can build in the mountains of Cali off of cliffs, surely they can fix that. Yeah, it's a homeless problem across everywhere, right? So let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. Just think outside of the box. How would you make an investment into something like this? How would you start a real estate fund that actually uh, use these modular homes to build out? Like, how would you do that? Right? Just think about it. Let's get back to it.
On a project called New Community, and it will hopefully offer a solution to this very real problem. So this is an example of the New Community Starter Studio. It is 4 modules, and each module is 80 square feet. And let's take a look around the corner here just so that you can see kind of what it looks like from the outside. New Community is working on establishing 3 communities, New Mountain and New Lake Travis in Travis County, and New Forest in Bastrop County. And a lot of people that are coming to work at Tesla's Gigafactory are already interested in this new community.
So the whole concept of this is like, you don't need to buy a 5,000 square foot home. And
right.
Because there's a lot of people that don't need that.
And so this is skyscraper glass. It's double paned and it gives you that feeling of luxury, and it's open, but it's also affordable. When you think of a modular home, you may think that it's inferior to a traditionally built or site-built home. Oftentimes, it's because a lot of people confuse modular homes with mobile homes. It's true, while modular homes aren't usually as costly as traditionally built homes, they aren't mobile homes either. These modular homes sit on a foundation and they're constructed in factories and then brought to the home sites. And they're even better than modular homes of the past. Many manufacturers now use 3D printing and robotics to build them. And when you think of modular homes, you probably don't think about one with a Doge doghouse or with Cybertruck in mind. So what is this?
Oh, that's
going
our
on there?
Dogecoin doghouse.
What?
Yeah, so you
The hell's that?
It's essentially, yeah. So it's like it's a doghouse where you can put in like an FSD card, and the dog can come in and out of the home.
Oh my God.
And you can put like whatever you want, but for this example, we use the Dogecoin symbol.
Of course.
Yeah. There's never been a full developed community with this kind of product on the ground.
Okay.
Austin would be the first one.
This community is especially geared toward Tesla employees and all of the other high-tech employees that are flooding into the city of Austin.
The city has a really antiquated development code that's like this thick.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in, to give you an idea, if you're going to go submit your plans and build in Dallas or Houston, you're less than a week. The average right now is over 6 months here, just
Whoa.
to submit your plans and for them to go, yep, we're done with our comments, you can start building. That's insane.
Yeah,
right?
that
They have
is.
to streamline that, especially when we're getting this many people moving here. And so I'm in fear of, fast forward 2 or 3 years, I don't know where these people are even going to lay their head at night, either to rent or own, just based on the sheer volume that's coming here. So it's an interesting time to be here. And people think, oh, you're going to do so well, it's great, good for you, blah, blah, blah. But realistically, I'm scared. Wow, okay.
What the hell?
Please don't hit me.
Yeah, dude.
All right. Gonna get my car wrecked here at Tesla. Good thing I can get a new one right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So housing is going to be challenging.
I think the interesting thing is kind of parallel to what Elon and Tesla did in the car space, right? When they started making EVs, even me, like 8-10 years ago, when I heard about Tesla making electric cars, I was like, oh, Elon's making golf carts on wheels.
Yeah.
We didn't understand that concept. So housing is going through that same revolution right now. I call it housing 2.0.
Right.
What is the future of housing? Clearly, what we're doing today doesn't make sense. It's not sustainable.
Yep.
So the future, this vision of the next generation of housing, I think 100% has to do with manufactured homes, prefabrication. That's because you need that volume.
Factory-built homes that can go off
Factory-built,
the assembly line in the final assembly. Like what you're about to go see, assembled in less than a day.
Wow.
So that you had a house brought together. So it comes from the factory, you drop it off, clip, 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 house.
That's why Matt and
So again, think outside of the box, right? So I've done this before. I showed this before. So you got the Gigafactory and you got these the new style. I don't want to say new style, but new way we're gonna live, right? Housing. Thank you for Kev Tech IT support. Thank you for becoming a member. We appreciate you. But remember also back, I want to say earlier this year, or maybe it might have been last year. VTOL. Remember, I talked about this. Let me see if it'll come up. Right, the vertical takeoff. Um, remember, 3 months ago. This is what this video was posted 3 months ago. But let's. I talked about this last year. But let's look at it. How we travel. We change how we travel. So imagine if I can avoid this traffic here, right? I don't care if Tesla is 20 minutes away. I don't care because he's Elon is building a landing strip um, in his own airport as well too. So I could just fly. I can just grab me one of these and I just fly to work, right? And by the way, he's already sold out. So yeah, I can fly to work. I don't need to wait on what he's talking about, right? So not only can I fly to work, there's also vertical taxis where they're actually doing test runs between Orlando and Tampa. So it because it takes 2.5 hours to fly, I mean, to drive from Tampa to Orlando, which they were supposed to put in the speed train, but that just never really kind of took off, right? So we have what we call the vertical taxis.
Electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, or eVTOLs, are some of the most exciting new developments of our time, with the potential to open up the sky as a traffic-free, high-speed.
Now I want to do want to add they've already approved the vertical takeoff. It already has been approved. If you go look at some of the state government contracts and stuff like that, they're looking for people to help flesh out the data side of this. So now to go in between cities, I don't need to take the highway. I could do a vertical takeoff taxi that take me from spot to spot, right? So to go to Tampa to Lakeland, Tampa to Winter Park, Tampa to Orlando, Tampa to Miami or Sarasota or St. Pete or whatnot, right? The way we travel is going to change, right? The way we see, the way we experience the world is changing right in front of us. So I'll show you space perspective. I've showed you this before. I see this being the new rage for people to get married on, or to have their um what's the word I'm looking for, to have their party at, right? So again, the way we see stuff is just going to be different, right? So let's look at the space that the taxis, right? Because I want you to also envision, if I am living in Austin and if I'm living in upstate New York, I can put those modulars anywhere. I can have taxis come pick you up and fly you where you need to be, right? I now have, we already have Uber jets, but now we have Uber taxis or whatnot, and we fly back and forth. What's going on, Sasha? So now for a premium, I can get you to work in 20 minutes. If you just want to pay for the EV taxi, we'll get you there in 20 minutes. All right. We'll get you there in 10 minutes, or we'll get you there in 8 minutes. I'm gonna splurge and pay the extra to get me there in 8 minutes. I'm just gonna enjoy this ride and drop me off at work, and I walk home, or take my bike home or whatever, or I rent a bike from work and take it back home. The way we travel, the way how we're connected when we travel is going to be different. All right, so let's take a look.
Speed and three-dimensional commuting space. The introduction of a large number of air taxi eVTOLs in recent years is expected to alter the way cities and urban lifestyles are planned. These air taxis are much quieter and run on zero-emission electric power. Most of them are also being developed to be less costly than chartered helicopter travel, with several models predicted to eventually cost around the same per mile as your typical rideshare service. In this episode, I'm sharing my top list of 5 of the latest air taxi eVTOL designs, including their estimated unit cost and features. Stick around to see the most amazing aircraft on this list. This is Aviation Federation, sharing with you exciting information about the latest and greatest in aviation and beyond. At number 5 is the Bell Nexus 4EX. This was designed as the quintessential air taxi that can be powered entirely by electricity, using batteries as a power source, or equipped with a hybrid electric power system if the customer requires more range. This aircraft can travel a maximum distance of 60 miles or 95 kilometers and can carry 4 passengers and their luggage at a cruising speed of 150 miles per hour or 240 kilometers per hour. The aircraft weighs 7,000 pounds and has 4 ducted propellers, 1 main wing, tricycle landing gear, and 1 rear rudder. The Bell Nexus 4EX employs artificial intelligence to anticipate ridership demand, allowing for early aircraft positioning, project maintenance servicing times, and to efficiently fly the aircraft through urban air routes while avoiding obstacles, including other aircraft. Furthermore, the Nexus has a distributed electric propulsion system, which means it has multiple motors and propellers distributed throughout the aircraft, allowing it to land safely even if 2 ducted propellers fail. The estimated base price of this aircraft is $4 million. Moving on to number 4 is the Volocopter 2X. This aircraft is a lightweight.
All right, let me show you the real ones. All right, this article right here. This is out of the Catalyst. It's called St. Pete Catalyst. Tampa Airport prepares for air taxis. This came out August the 25th of 2022. It had already been approved. This is the second or third time that I've seen this, and you don't know that they're there. I've seen them, but you just gotta be paying attention to the skies. All right, so let's blow this up. Tampa Airport is geared up to handle the growing emergence of air taxis. TPA's Hillsborough County Aviation Authority has launched the Advanced Aviation Technology Committee to plan or the arrival of air taxis, also known as EVOTL, Electric Vertical Takeoff and Landing. And it says which are expected to debut in Tampa as early as 2025. They're already doing this. So here is what it looks like right here.
A new way to travel is on its way, a technology that's expected to transform transportation.
Really electric airplanes. So aircraft that take off and land vertically, just like a helicopter, but they're powered by electric batteries.
Some call them air taxis, others flying Ubers. They're officially known as eVTOLs, an acronym standing for Electric Vertical Takeoff and Landing.
This is something that's coming. It's not just a pie in the sky idea. This is happening and it's real. And it's going to happen over the next few years.
Some of the first of these electric aircraft are aiming for certification as early as 2024 and could begin flying passengers within the next several years. It's what's led the Hillsborough County Aviation Authority, which oversees Tampa International and its smaller general aviation airports, to form an advanced aviation technology committee to begin planning now for the not too distant future.
This industry is moving very quickly. So it's either going to happen all around you, or you're going to be a part of that discussion and have a seat at the table. And we want to make sure that we're a part of that conversation in the planning process to get ready for this.
Airports all across Florida, big and small, could be home to some of the first vertiports across the state.
I think Tampa Executive is a great example of an airport that's strategically located right at the intersection of I-75 and I-4. It's near the Hard Rock and the fairgrounds, Brandon, close enough to Disney, or the beaches if you're going over to Clearwater or St. Pete for the day. I think it has the real potential to be an urban mobility hub that could serve as a center for this type of activity. It's right there at kind of the core of the two major interstates.
Tampa International Airport is already in talks with some of the world's top industry leaders, hosting a series of advanced air mobility industry days earlier this spring. And while it's unclear which companies might be first to bring this rapidly evolving technology to market, the Tampa Bay area wants to be ready.
But it will evolve over time, and it's something that we have to be prepared for and anticipate that this is going to be a new way of travel that's going to happen really just in the next couple of years. You'll start to see this unfold.
All right. That's right. Ready or not, here we come. All right. We're here. This is where we're at. Right. And then let's really take it to the next level. Right. We're talking about going somewhere to for that, right? So here in Erie, Colorado, right, we don't need to go anywhere. Why? Because these houses are built with the landing strip in the back and the hangar as well, right? So over in Erie, there's I know there's a row of 7 houses because I saw them, where they have the landing strip and the hangar in the back. So I could just get my own eVTOL and park it in my hangar and then fly on off and do my thing and come on back. All right. So here it is. This is the house right here. I want to see if they're going to show the hangar. This is one of them. And it's over in Erie, Colorado, which is not too far from here. And I want to see if they got this was 3 million. I want to see if they got they got pictures of the landing strip and the hangar. This one had, one of them we had looked at, they had their jet in there. Let me see if they got the jet in this one. But just take out the jet and keep it pushing. Yep, get your pilot license, and we're gonna talk about pilot license because there's a shortage of pilots, and they're looking to hire pilots badly to do things. So, right. So here you see, here's the strip. You see that strip right there. You can barely see it, but it's there. And as you can see, there's a row of houses here, right? With their strip in the back. See? So here's the hangar, and I'm coming off my thing, and I pull up my plane or my little thing, right? And then here's my house, right? So I don't need to go to the airport. I just fly in, or I use the EVs, eVTOLs to fly in and park into my situation, and I go on by my business. And I don't need that much house either. I could have a lot of land, and I could, if you're smart, you buy the land and have you one of them little modular homes on there and put a whole bunch of other little modular homes, and then make your own be your own Uber or your own Turo, and then be like, we could take you to work and have just get up in the morning and people just live on the land because you spent money for this land. You got these modular homes and you're making money off the homes and you're taking people to work. It's a win-win. You don't need to get your pilot license. I just take you where you need to go. But just thinking outside the box of where things are going. Don't say that I didn't warn you. Don't wait 5 years from now like, God dang, Tameika said that was gonna happen. We're already there, right? We're already there. We're in 2022. They're expecting this to be 2025. Be expecting places like your Texas, your Florida, your Colorado, Utah, Kansas, Idaho. Expect places where they got some space at, or where people are living in. I don't expect somewhere like New York City, but out upstate New York, I could expect something like that. Something that got some space where people can really be open and fly in and do what they need to do. Right? Drop a one in the chat if you want. If you want one of these, want your own little plane to fly. Natasha said, "Let you get your pilot license like Mitchell, the co-founder has." Yep, it's a couple of people at my job that have their pilot license here. They fly on the weekends and so forth, right? They fly on the weekends. So outside the box, think about the technology behind this, right? Think about the technology that's going into this. Uh, you want to hear music while you fly. You want to have entertainment while you fly, and so forth. Which brings up my other thing was it called? Yeah, I wanted to bring that back up. Um, this right here is really gonna change how we have parties, I think, and what we do next. Yeah, right. So this right here is space perspective, right? Y'all remember this? They sold out now. They sold out. I was gonna get me one. That's where I was. I just want to do it. I think it's dope. All right, space perspective. Remember this? Where they and look and see they already got the people on there where they go out into the stratosphere and you can see the entire world and the constellations and the stars. Boom. All right, so let me pull that up on YouTube here so you can check that out. So you can see what it looks like. I think space perspective. I think it was 150. I'm not subscribed to them. Let me subscribe. All right. Let me see. Let me look. Let's look at this. Let me see.
Well, space tourism will soon go from science fiction to a reality.
Wow, an extraordinary story. The leading luxury spaceflight experience company is making space tourism a little bit more comfortable.
Space Perspective is introducing a new era in luxury travel experience.
What you do is you're going to be sending balloons up into space with 8 passengers on board, a bar, and of course a bathroom.
So we've completely reimagined it. And so it is, as you said, a huge balloon the size of a football stadium that allows us to carry this pressurized capsule to space very gently and smoothly.
Space Perspective has signed on Grotman as an experienced curator.
This opportunity, when it came across my desk, I was like, this is something we have to do.
You still have to drink or get up and move around the cabin and get your own drink to look out at this amazing view. We are in the happy position of not using rockets. We're actually using a space balloon, which takes people to space in a very low energy way.
I certainly have visions of, space travel involves this massive takeoff with flames going everywhere. And smoke and danger, you know, admittedly like a little scary. This doesn't sound scary.
The incredible effect that this is going to have across the planet. We're envisioning taking thousands, hundreds of thousands, eventually millions to space.
We're glad to have a founder and CEO of Space Perspective, Jane Pointer. Thanks so much for being with us here on Fox Weather.
Thanks so much. See you in space.
Yeah, so that need to have that luxury wedding. Oh yeah, I see weddings in space. Like I got engaged in space. All right, I got engaged out of this world. I see all of that. I see all of the uh you ain't on my level joints where people gonna be like, what we doing? He ain't on this. You ain't you ain't got these. I see all of that, right? I also see Instagram shots. I see TikTok. I see the engineering behind it. I see the social effect behind it. I see movies. I see all of that. They're right off the Space Coast, off of Cape Canaveral, Space Coast. They're doing their thing out there. You know, like my monitor just went out. But again, when we're talking about what this looks like for space travel and AI and tech, and where do your skills lie at, right? Their first article was like, hey, I'm defeated, but what skills do you have that are marketable to take you somewhere else? And what's going on in tech at the same time as well too, where you can start diving yourself off into X, Y, and Z. One of my goals was for the past 2 3 years was I said I want to go work on a SpaceX project. I want to go work for Space Force. I said that. And the reason why I said that is because I knew the technology going into it was going to be something not I don't want to say amazing. It was going to be something that we're creating, and I want to be a part of the creation where I can be like, no, we need to make that better. No, we need to do this. Here's why. Here's those little things. And at the center of all of it is still Linux and DevSecOps and cloud and security and automation and AI and embedded systems and machine learning and uh, uh, time. Time is so valuable in because if you're off by a millisecond, you have missed your mark. If you're off by uh, any of it, so all these things come into play. You think that you drive down the street safely every day, but there's so many factors that go into why you drive down the street every day safely, right? Why are you able to make these turns? Somebody's looking at traffic flow and so forth and so on. So just those things to think about um, that come into play. So I want to. Someone's asking about how much do these things cost. At first they were 125, and then now I think they went up to 150, but they're sold out. Let me see if I can find the cost on here. I'm looking now, and I'll share my screen in a minute. Okay, yeah, book now. Let me see. They went up, they went down. Let me go back over. It says Space Explorer individual seat now is $1,000 uh refundable deposit per ticket. But I think it's 125. Are you ready to be at the forefront of this exciting era? They keep updating their website. The first flight is scheduled in 2024, have sold out. Secure your place in space history now and be among the first to explore and discover the planet Earth from an entirely new perspective, right? 125 per explorer, $1,000 for a deposit. So you can put $1,000 down now and just keep paying it off until you get there for the 125, right? So 2024, they've sold out of the first scheduled flights, right? So again, this is the website has changed, and the reason why I know their website has changed because I check it out every so often, so I know it just changed, right? No, it ain't a 3 day trip. I think it's like a 50 minute, maybe an hour, maybe a 2 hour trip at max. At max. And here's the what they're I guess they're clouding their inside. This picture didn't show up there. Right. Right. Only space term come accepting cryptocurrency. Um they did a test flight. Space lounge. Oh, come on. Okay, here we go. Really? I need to fix that. Yeah, it just whatever something's going on with their site, then it goes away. So again, we're here. We're here. This is where we're at. All right. So we talked about AI. We talked about space. We talked about jobs and being secure with who you are. What that's look like. Which direction do y'all want to go in? Do y'all want? Let me give you some suggestions here, because I can go either direction, right? Let me tell you where we can go. I'm gonna let you all make the decision today. All right. So on my list, we can talk about acquisitions. Um, we talk more about space. We can talk about. Let me look and see what this one is. But hold on, it's a video. We can also talk about Mr. Beast and how he spends $8 million a month on YouTube and his business. Talk about that. We can also talk about stock splits. We can also talk about a nurse who is making 5,000 a week, and what that and how that nurse is putting away 12,000 a month. And we could talk about the companies with the best compensations for the year. You tell me how you want to go. You want to go more space? You want to go? You want it all? And give all. All right. I'm making an executive decision. I don't see nothing coming in. All right. Let me. So far I got stock splits, acquisition, and nurse. Money and compensation. Some got to pay for space. Nurse comp. All right. Brian, I was like, let's talk about all of it. Let's talk about baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about. Mm, mm, mm. All right, so here we go. Here's a space article right here. Breaking out of intelligence silos. This is the Space System Command. So let me pull that over to the screen for you. All right, breaking out of intelligence silos, right? Space Systems Command, SSC. seeks to empower decision making through regular threat briefing. Right. So when we talk about space, right, let's go back and think about the EVTOL and then the space flights and so forth. Let's look at the fact that um, there's still security around that, right? Security of that you don't crash, number one, all right? Also security that you actually know how to fly the thing, right? Some type of license and you need to get in order to fly, or someone needs to be able to take you where you need to go safely, right? And the other part of that is I don't want to be hacked while I'm flying. I don't want nobody to take over my machine while I fly. All right. So you know, think about it from that perspective. So outer space and cyberspace have become new commanding heights in strategic competition amongst all parties. Innovation increasing driven by private companies, $450 $450 billion dollar per year global industry, scaling to 1 trillion by 2024. If you want to know where your skills need to be at, I'm telling you now. I am showing you what your future is already here and looks like. Your best time to get in is now. Don't wait. Stop talking about you going to a boot camp that you don't know if you ain't go come out with a job. Know where the industry is going. Understand what the industry is doing. They're already building internet on Mars, not on Mars, but on the moon. I talked about that earlier this year. They're already building and looking and putting money to build internet on the moon, and they're doing launch. They're preparing to do launches from the moon to Mars. We are already there. If you want to know where your children should be at, this is where they should be. They need to understand the IT behind space travel. They need to understand AI. They need to understand the operating systems. If you want to know where your children should be, they're going to need to understand edge computing, embedded systems on the technical side. Let's go look at the marketing side. Someone has to market this to you. Someone has to sell you the dream, the idea. Someone has to manage the customers. Someone has to find the customers. So there's sales, there's engineering, there's all these things. All right. It's all these things. Oh, oh yeah, I forgot Mike was there. Right. So space domain, increasingly accessible to all actors, 26,000 large objects, right? Someone has to monitor space junk. Someone has to get the space junk out of the sky, right? Space enabled war fighting, dominant in high end conflict. Adversaries must match US capabilities and nullify them, right? And so this came out I think this is the other day because somebody I know posted this. But I just want to give you the perspective of what we're talking about when we're talking about just space in general. We always saw space travel differently, like with space perspective. We always saw the EV planes. Now we got to think about, well, the security around that, the AI around that. You saw them taking cryptocurrency. We've already seen satellites and blockchain, right? We've already seen the Web3 stuff, right? They're already working on web. I think it's Web 5. It's not Web 4. I think they're working on Web 5 now. Maybe Web 6. I can't remember. But we're already there. And when I say we're already there, meaning the skills that you have now are going to help enable these things in the long run. In the long run, meaning in the next 5 to 10 years. These SpaceX, the launching of satellites, the launching of the EVs, these things here are all coming into play. So if you want to know where you need to be at, and you want to know where money is going at, we already seen the 50 billion going into chip manufacturing. I showed you the 100 billion that's going into Micron with their chip manufacturing. We saw where Elon is going with the robot and AI and embedded chips. We've seen that we're already there. We're already there. So the fact that you keep playing around and keep asking like where I need to be, I've told you several times. And your skills translate over all these industries. Get you a set of skills that can translate to different industries. So how do you know what am I saying? I'm saying look at the car industry, look at the space industry, look at the cyber industry, look at the travel industry, hospitality industry, common skills across. Every hotel has an IT department. Every school district has an IT department. So how do you take yourself and position yourself where you have lifelong skills where you can jump in and out of lanes as you choose, not someone choosing for you, right? Where you choose versus someone choosing for you. That's important. All right. Next one up. Let's see. Let me go back up. We said money compensation. Oh, okay. Let me go to this article. Let me go to this article. To do. It is right here. There's several articles. Several. Let's talk about it. Billionaire Izzy Englander, I guess you want to say Millennium Management. I don't know how many of you have heard of Millennium Management. Is expanding its tech teams across the globe. Here's what the $57 billion hedge fund looks for in engineers according to its top recruiters. Again, hedge funds, private equity funds, syndications, uh, um, even crowdfunding platforms all need engineers. And guess who? Guess what else? Who's interested in those? When I talked about family offices and acquisitions, I'm gonna transition into acquisitions, and then you're gonna start seeing that your skills are transferable into multiple industries, but you got to believe in yourself. You got to understand where the industry is going, and you got to push forward to say, hey, this is I want to try this. This is where I want to be. But again, expand your skills throughout. All right. So here we go. All right. Millennium is looking to hire engineering roles across its Miami, Ireland, and India offices. Some of the roles include back end, front end engineers, and data engineers. The firm typically looks for candidates with 3 to 10 years of experience. Millennium Management, which houses multiple trading pods across the globe, is looking for 100 engineers and developers to help expand its footprint in top technology hubs. We want to grow, meaning we want the cream of the crop, meaning we gonna have to pay for it if we want to be. If one, see, this is what you got to understand. Let me tell you something. Everybody wants to compete, and everybody wants to compete with the best of the best. They got a $57 billion fund. I guarantee you probably want to double it, if not more. Right. So now we got to think about what do we need to get there. They probably talked to somebody like Gartner. They said they came and did an analysis on where they're at right now and where the high performing people are actually playing in the financial industry and what they did to get there. And so now they did that analysis, and now they came back and said, these are the tools that we need. These are the things that we need, and we need people that can help us build these things out internally or use these things externally. Most of the time, some people build things internally because there may be a nuances to what they have, but most of the time they also go outside. It's 50-50. They'll go outside in order to utilize something that someone already has. I don't have if I ain't got to build it, and I can just use it, right? All right, so let's get back to it. They said Izzy Englander's 57 billion fund is just one of the many quant shops battling out with the finance industry and top tech for hot talent. The firm has been on a hiring spree and recently tapped Goldman Sachs alum Olga Numovich to build teams of engineers and developers who work closely with a multi-strategy hedge fund trading pods in its new Miami office. Technologists are key to helping researchers, data scientists, and trade developers cutting edge investment strategies and platforms. We're gonna build a platform, and you're gonna pay me to build this platform, and in turn, the customer is gonna utilize this platform in order to do their trades, in order to get research, in order to look up documentation, in order to sign up to get a checking account or what have you. I'm building this platform, right? As Millennium looks to the future, the firm is looking to hire numerous engineering roles across Miami, Dublin, Ireland, and Bangalore, India offices. John Tallarico, global head of technology acquisitions for Millennium, told Insider in an interview, "We've established a presence in these locations in part because they're globally renowned hubs for top technology talent." Right. Overall, the company has 125 positions open across on their website across the world. The firm is looking for back end engineers, front end data engineers, quantitative researchers who are experts in Python, which is popular computer programming language. They're seeking a number of engineers who focus on security to protect Millennium's cloud. Oh, look at that. Information networks and technology stack according to the company's job listings, and they have potential of being well compensated. While Millennium declined to share the salary ranges for technology, a previously reported insider analysis of the Department of Labor of other large multi-strategy quant hedge developers showed that the engineers at the hedge funds often reap six-figure salaries. So do we care what the salaries are? Did y'all want to look at that? I figured you probably do. Should I click on the link? I think you want to look. I think you want to know. Let me look. Colton Evans like, yes. All right. The average minimum salary they got here for this one, because they're saying it in comparison of, so two sigma. So they range from 186 to 189 before bonuses. So that sounds like base. It sounds like all base. Point two looks like they're 127 to 176. So we still would say 127 to 189. Bridgewater, he just stepped down. They're 120. So look, oh, they're 110 to 146. So software engineer for them could be 141 to 425. A tech lead could be 133 to 342. So we're looking at from 127 to 425, 110 to 425 between all of them, right? Another range here on average, they got 150. So they're saying entry level is 150. Beyond entry level business, 170, max 200. So again, we're still within that range, right? So far, the largest I've seen is the 425. So if they're falling in that range, you could you could probably bank on anywhere between, I'm gonna say anywhere between 150 to 425, right? Is what the range is. 150 to 425. And then that's just base. That didn't include bonus, right? That didn't include bonus, right? That didn't include bonus. All right. So that was that one. So let's move over to the one thing I wanted to talk about. Most definitely was this one. Hopefully this website works because it was acting kind of wonky for me. So remember I talked about car washes, and someone sent me this because they wanted me to study this company. So you're gonna study with me live this particular company. You need that 425, yeah. Let's get it. Don't say you need it. Just say you're gonna go get it. Go get it. Right? Mammoth Holdings. They are buying up car washes left and right. Remember, I told you car washes make anywhere between $2 to $4 million. So they are acquiring car washes across the U.S. Acquisitions. When we're talking about acquisitions, there's a model that people follow. Some people do syndications, but acquisitions work as well too, right? See what was the title of that article from Insider about salaries? It came from another article. Hold on. That one was hedge fund pay reveal how much engineers, associates, and researchers make at AQR, Bridgewater, Citadel, DE Shaw, Point 72 and 2 Sigma. That came out September the 2nd of 2021. Right. I'll drop this article in the chat so you can have it. Um, I'll just call it salaries. There you go. Back to where I was at. We're done with Elon and his 500 kids. Still cracked up. All right, where was I at? Was I here? That's Vizzy Pay. No. Did I lose it? Did I lose it? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Right here. All right, cool. All right, so America's premier express car wash, Mammoth Holdings, acquisitions. Dealing with acquisitions now. Let me kind of blow it up a little bit here. I don't want to. It's been acting wonky for me. So, Mammoth Holdings is pioneering a revolutionary business model with the industry best operators. We are building an unmatched platform, changing the way people think about business, brand, and trajectory. At a glance, they have 165 store count, right? They got current locations here, 107, and then 83 in the pipeline, and more coming soon, right? They got more coming soon in these states here. Their goal is to take over. The flywheel of success. Mammoth is one of the largest car wash operating platforms in the United States with nearly 100 locations made up of 20 brands, right? And this is their cycle, right? Industry reputation, new operator joins Mammoth, best practices shared to and from, operational performance, and system strengths, right? They have a blueprint in which they follow, and what they look for in those car washes. They take them. They probably have a system they've set up to scale their business, their advertising, their marketing, and get them to the next level. So I wonder if they look like at a C or a B, and then they move them up to an A. Probably a C, and then move them up to an A. And then again, they could take them and sell them off in a portfolio or not, right? Accelerating the brand, right? They got Swiftly, they brought in Finish Line, uh Wiggy Wash, Pit Stop Car Wash, Pure Magic, and then Silver Star Car Wash. And they go on to talk about how they do it, right? How the continuous improvement of the platform, customer success, increased value through scale, and so forth. So why did I bring this up? I brought this up for a reason. A lot of people want to go out and create businesses, and maybe you're not good at creating a business. Maybe you're good at scaling a business. Maybe you ought to look at scaling a business versus buying a business and then scaling it versus creating one. And there's nothing wrong with that. That don't mean you're a failure. That don't mean you're X, Y, and Z. That just means that you know your strengths. You know what you're good at, right? You know what you're good at. So here, and this is where it starts. See, this is why I say the website starts getting wonky. So if I'm the person who's over this, I'm gonna notice this, right? And I'm gonna be like, you need to fix my website because now I can't look at it, right? So I had to skip the content, but here's the development philosophy here. Again, I talked about this on Tim's show. Places like your Walmarts and your Home Depots with all that land that they have for parking can be an out parcel cut down to size where you got enough where people can come in and do their thing, right? This look like some parking lot. Here's a McDonald's, and here's a look. They sliced off a parcel, and now they got people that can just come in, get their car washed, and keep on going, right? Right. So they've added what did they do? And I talked about this on the show. Melissa, you was there yesterday. What did they do? What do they have? They brought a value add to the parcel because now the parcel is just instead of just sitting there, it's making money. So they might have had a split with the owner of that land where they can say, hey, we'll give you 2% off the sales or whatnot. Um, Also, people who come there, say it's a Walmart parking lot or a Home Depot parking lot or what have you. Those people that are the customers, there, and this is the thing. This is what's great about it. They don't have to go look for customers. The customers are already there. They don't have to go look for customers. The customers are already there. And then the next thing they do is the customers are already there. But I need a towel to dry my car. I can just go to Home Depot. I can go to Lowe's or whatever parking lot I'm in. That's a big one, like a Walmart or a Target, and I can just buy from them. Or I could say, "Hey, we'll buy stuff from you, X, Y, and Z, and do a discount." But now I also have a subscription model that I'm following, so we get repeated customers. That $49.99 a month, or $29.99 a month, or $25 a month that you're going to repeatedly come back in and get your car washed, right? You're just going to be just getting your car washed and drying it off. And maybe we have some people there that'll dry your car off or whatever the case may be, how whatever our system is. But what I'm saying is the value add is we have customers, you have customers, your customers are our customers. We have a partnership with each other. We can give discounts if we needed to, what have you, to each other. And so now that's where we're going. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they haven't finished building it, but of course you have a charging station. As soon as you pull up to dry out your car or whatnot, you just plug your car in and go from there. But even better yet, what's happening with the charging stations is and when I showed this earlier this year, where you can, instead of going to a charging station, you just go to a battery changing station where you drive in. It takes 10 minutes to get the battery changed out, and now you're on a whole new battery, and boom boom, and you on your little way, right? So instead of me sitting there charging, I'm just going into the battery station, switching out my battery to my car on this platform, and then 10 minutes later, I'm on my way. I don't have to sit there and wait, right? So the value add, and those are gonna pop up too. We're gonna see more of those pop up, right? Engineering cannabis, you say infrastructure for these flying taxi lots a profit. Oh yeah. Buying land closer to airports and seaports. Oh, most definitely. If I'm on a cruise and I spent 15 days on a cruise, and then I get off the cruise ship, I don't want to have to try to fight through traffic to get out. I'm just gonna go to the little EV joint, and then you gonna pick me. I'm gonna get in there, and we're gonna fly on back, right? Now we got to worry about luggage. So I don't know what that looks like for luggage, but just think about it. What if I don't take my luggage? What if you have a delivery service that's with the EV joint where you put your luggage in there and your luggage arrives a little later, but you fly off onto the thing and you on about your business, right? Maybe could be something to think about. Um, can you run a Tesla through a car wash or do you have to dry clean it? You funny. You funny. Ba-ba-ba-ba. All right. I think D's ready for the next show. Hold on, D. Let me see. Last but not least, I didn't get a chance to go over the guy, but I wanna talk about this article. I want to give a highlight to this article. And here we go. Highlight to this article. All right. This article is I'm the first black woman puppeteer on Sesame Street. Yay! I was about to give up my puppeteering dreams for a stable career, and then Big Bird emailed me. All right. Megan, I don't know why I want to call her Megan Seofis. That's what when I looked at that, I was like, I want to call her Megan Seofis. Uh, yeah, I was on the show yesterday with I hopped on Intentional Millionaire show. Megan Pfeiffer's piece recently became the first black woman puppeteer on Sesame Street. She learned puppetry at her local church when she was 10 years old. Pfeiffer's detailed her journey from America's Got Talent to Sesame Street and how she feels to make history. Right? I learned ventriloquism when I was 10 years old. A woman at my church started a puppetry team to teach older kids how to perform puppetry for smaller kids ministry. I've never known anybody to teach anybody puppetry. I've never seen people teach puppetry. I wonder what that's like. I volunteered to learn, and she took all of us to the puppetry conference in Illinois. Didn't know they had a puppetry conference. Every puppet I see, you watch the story, the evil stories like I do, the the puppet with the long with the mouth and all of that. It's funny. There were church puppetry teams there from all over the world, and we learned character development technique and how to use and make different props. This was when I was first introduced to ventriloquism. A lot of the teachers at this conference were women, which is really inspired me. I watched these female ventriloquists tell stories and sing songs using a character, and I really saw myself in them. I wanted to make people laugh, feel, and be inspired. So at the end of the conference, I went home and told my parents I wanted to learn how to become a ventriloquist. My mom was extremely supportive, and think she saw an opportunity for me to open up and come out of my shell. Introvert. I was very shy as a child. She found VHS tapes by famous ventriloquists like Paul Winchell, Liz von Sagan, and Judy, I guess, Booch, from libraries all over the state of Ohio. I watched these tapes over and over to learn from the greats. I knew I had found my passion when I had my first ventriloquist performance. Yeah, I've seen him. Like that's the normal doll, right? I got my first puppet named and named him Charlie McCarthy, and after Edgar Bergen's famous character. I practiced with Charlie and took him to school and told jokes to my classmates, which got the attention of my teachers. They asked me to perform for the whole school, and that's when I wrote my first script. Right? If you know anything, I'm gonna end this on a good joke. Don't worry, I got a good joke. I'm cracking up now. Wait till I play it. Anyway, the first performance was probably one of the most gratifying experiences of my life. I started performing at other schools and churches from age 10 to 11 all the way through high school. I started getting paid to travel to perform at other churches when I was in school. It became a real job for me. I made $50 to $100 per show. I would use the money to either buy more puppets, fabric, or making my puppets clothes for giving back to my church. I've since become the first black puppeteer on the United States versions of Sesame Street, where I am a cast member and the voice of Gabrielle. I've traveled all over the world to perform and sing with my puppets and even appeared on America's Got Talent. I never expected to hear from Sesame Street, especially because I never applied. Sesame Street is the pinnacle of puppetry and children's entertainment. While I dreamed of working there, I never thought I would, especially during the time Matt Vogel, Big Bird, actor and producer for the show, reached out to me. At the beginning of the pandemic in March of 2020, I was around 6 weeks pregnant and with my second child. In an email, Matt wrote that since production had slowed because of the pandemic, they had time to go through some old submissions, but I hadn't submitted myself. In 2018, I found Leslie Carros Rudolph's Instagram. She performs the character Abby Kadabi on Sesame Street. I just commented on one of her posts. Abby Kadabi has always been my favorite character. You do amazing work with her character. Leslie actually responded to me and asked me if it was okay if I sent my information to people at Sesame Street. I'd had ventriloquy performances on my Instagram profile. I told her that would be amazing. After 2 years, I wasn't even thinking about it anymore and was shocked to hear back. Joining the Sesame Street mentorship program helped me learn their style of puppetry, but it was hard work. Matt Vogel asked if I would be willing to learn to monitor the Muppet style puppetry because they're different styles from ventriloquism. With ventriloquism, which I had built my performance career on, you can see the ventriloquist, but with the Muppet style puppetry, you don't see the person who's performing. I was very interested in learning the style, so I got on the phone with him and Marty Robinson, the performer of Snuffleupagus. I would love to have been on the phone with that one. Right? They told me what it was like working at Sesame Street, and I asked would I be willing to join the mentorship program. The mentorship program, you trained by Sesame Street performers with hopes of eventually becoming a on camera and performing a character. I accepted it immediately. I had my first mentorship meeting 5 minutes after that call, so I welcomed into the family right away. My first time voicing Gabriella was June 2020, and when I educated children about racial justice for CNN Town Hall. Then in September 2021, I had my very first in-person recording with Gabriella. Upon me Up until that point, I had been learning and training over Zoom in Nashville, Tennessee, which was difficult, but I made the best of the situation. Majority of the performers are in New York. I was also pregnant at the time, and while it was hard work to push through the pregnancy fatigue to practice and learn, I had an incredible drive to learn and master the monitor style puppetry. Working on Sesame is just fun as it looks. So the article goes on, but there she is, right? And let's go check her out, real quick. It's totally different than would this still be considered STEM because it's arts or STEAM, I guess. Uh, Gabriella, Sesame Street. No, I don't want Gabrielle Union. Let me go back to the article. Where you at? Where the article? Is over here? Where the article go? It's a Business Insider, travel. Where'd you go? Article. Oh man, I'm gonna have to pull it up over here. Hold on, I lost it. Right here. Her name is Megan. Right here. Then we'll go back to YouTube. Learn about matrices and multiplying. And then let's go here. And there we go. Sesame Street. Came up right there. Here she go right here.
All right, folks. Here's a lady who's a real estate financial analyst. Now, that doesn't often involve putting your hand in a puppet's behind, but that's what she's gonna do tonight.
I'm Megan Pythas, and I'm 24 years old, and I came here today from San Antonio, Texas. I started ventriloquism when I was just 10 years old. I just changed to a new school, so puppetry actually helped me make new friends. I love talking to puppets, so it's different and I love it.
People, make some noise for Megan Pfeiffer. That's good. That's the same thing. How
Look
you
at the
doing?
people. They like
Very
she's
good,
a head
Steve.
case.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this?
We've been doing it for 15 years.
I'm gonna just talk to you the rest of the time. The two dummies is throwing me off a little bit. I don't really know how to talk to no dummy. I just like to talk to people. So tell me about these guys you have with you.
So I'm Megan.
And I'm Megan.
Yeah, so ventriloquists have been known to have split personalities, so I brought my personalities with me. Thanks for the invite.
Girl, stop playing like you had a choice.
Good point.
Okay, well, okay, this crazy. All right, I like crazy people. Folks, let's see what she does. Let's hear
And now
from
she on
Megan
Sesame
Pfeiffer.
Street, right? Go figure.
You don't own me. I'm not just one of your many toys. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to say. Please, when I go out with you, don't tell me all this thing.
What have I ever done to you? Megan, don't listen to her. She's not real.
Neither are you.
Such a puppet. I hope life treats you kind. And I hope you have all you dreamed of.
Such a shame.
And
She's getting a standing ovation. How are you feeling?
I love it.
Megan Pfeiffer.
She had me crying laughing.
Megan Pfeiffer.
Aw. You know I'm a sapsucker. Oh, she made me cry. Anyway, I love a happy ending. Uh yeah, wow, right? She people were like she was a nutcase when she came out. They doubted her. She was 24, and this looks like this is a very old Apollo because he ain't been on there forever. So, and now she is on Sesame Street, and this is her YouTube channel actually, right here. This says it's looks like it was posted 4 years ago. Doesn't mean that was 4 years ago. And then this is her and her singing and so forth with her family, and then her puppets and the whole nine. So go check her out. Go support her. I wanted to make shut up, Dion. Dion talking about I'm a poop, but it was one of them stories. You're like, oh man, why you gotta talk about the girl like that? Give her a chance. You don't know. You might be surprised at what she does. All right. And so, and I guess this is her holiday, 5 years, her musical expressions and stuff.
hey guys, I'm gonna sing some Christmas carols
And she
in the
sings.
style of some divas you may know. Britney Spears. It's Britney Bells. Yeah. Jingle bells, a jingle all the way. Yeah. monsters, Lady Gaga.
Rah, rah, Rudolph, rah, rah, Rudolph, what you want for Christmas? Claus, it wasn't Claus, it was a perfect illusion, mistaken the Claus.
I was like, this is my last one. This is my last one, and we're gonna end on a funny note. All right. So back in the day, there used to be this joint, uh, uh, Madam the Puppet, on Solid Gold, right? It's back in the 80s. Look,
You know, during my career, I've had the pleasure of working with some of the most talented
but I'm gonna start right here, right? Let me see if I can get
performers in
a
music.
front face of
But
it,
few of them have the warmth, charm, and
right there. Y'all gonna hate me for this one, but this what Lil Kim be looking like to me. This what Lil Kim look like to me. Anyway, I think they tried to make this puppet look like Dionne Warwick because she used to be on this show. But yeah,
and beauty of our next guest. Please welcome the lovely Madam.
Well, thanks, honey. Oh, but what have you been drinking, I'll tell you, with an intro like that?
Oh, come on. Nothing, Madam. You know that came from my heart. You know, we spent a lot of years together on this show. And I must say, you look like $1 million.
Don't I just? Yeah, like $1 million, old, green, and wrinkled.
I'm serious. You look great.
Well, I should. Honey, I've had my eyes tucked, my ears pinned, my cheeks chiseled, my lips lifted, and my forehead stretched.
now look, you was already talking about getting work done. This is in 81. This is 81. She was, and I used to watch Solid Gold because I used to be like, why do they have this puppet on here? I used to could never get into the puppet. I was just like, it's so odd for them to have this puppet on here. And then they would have Marilyn McCoo, and I forget who she was married to. She was married to somebody famous. I want to say she was married to somebody. I can't remember who she was married to. Famous. And she will always come out, and I was like, and I used to ask myself, was it like to sit here and talk to this puppet and greet this puppet? And you have to have this full blown conversation with this puppet and kiss this puppet and all that. Like I used to ask myself, and now that I think about it, I'm like, well, was she a ventriloquist? Was she the ventriloquist? Was she the ventriloquist? And I didn't know it. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, maybe this was her little alter ego. Who knows?
Right now, I'm sitting on last year's face.
Come on now.
Oh, just a little, I'm choking.
Come on now. There's nothing wrong with getting a few crow's feet around your eyes.
A few crow's feet. Honey, you should see my face in the morning. Looks like it was stomped on by Heckle and Jekyll.
Well, face isn't everything. You still have your figure.
Have you ever seen me in the nude?
Luckily, no.
Worst looking body you've ever seen. I had to get my baby drunk before I could breastfeed it.
Madam.
I just want to end on that note. I know D ready to start the next show. Again, thank y'all for coming out. I hope you got some different perspectives on life, right? Where life could take you, where tech could take you, hedge funds hiring, acquisitions, AI, EVs, flight, space junk, investments. I try to give you the entire 360 of tech and where things are at, and including I'm trying to include a little bit more of the art side of and give you the other side of where maybe you don't go into tech, maybe you do something like being a ventriloquist, or maybe you go into creating stories using AI to create children's book, using AI to create and write a story for something. You creating you using digital art to create and tell a movie. You saw the Cavalli hotel, right, in the movie with with digital humans, and using digital humans to tell a new version of movies, of what it could be, right? Think outside the box is what I want you to do. Don't be beholden to what you see in front of you or the environment around you. Move forward in life and move forward with your thoughts. We'll see you on the next show.